Blitz Media partner. The PlayStation 5 was announced, and I am sure you are all excited about this. So let's talk about the specs of it and mainly the SSD. What it is. NVMe is a communications standard developed specially for SSDs by a consortium of vendors including Intel, Samsung, SanDisk, Dell, and Seagate. It operates across the PCIe bus, hence the express in the name, which allows the drives to act more like the fast memory that they are, rather than the hard disks they imitate. NVMe protocol is quickly becoming the industry standard for supporting solid-state drives and other non-volatile memory subsystems. NVMe SSD speeds are substantially better than traditional storage protocols, such as SAS and SATA. What can we say this means for the new PlayStation and its games? Well, that can be a complicated answer, but let's talk deep into some theories. First thing is the raw speed or I/O throughput for the console with this custom SSD versus a traditional PC bus. At a glance, here's what you can expect from the PlayStation 5's new hard drive solution. The ability to access 5.5 GB raw, or a typical 8 to 9 GB compressed, of data per second. This is around 100 times faster than what's possible on PS4 currently, which has an I/O throughput of around 50 to 100 megabytes per second, which is dependent on data location on the HDD. Sony believes this results in significantly faster loading times, with games teased to boot within a second from the dashboard, and a near eradication of loading times. Much faster loading means expanded design freedom for game developers making worlds. For example, those twisting passages or elevator rides used to hide loading in open-world games could be a thing of the past. Using an SSD means developers don't need to duplicate the same files over and over throughout a HDD or Blu-ray disc to compensate for slower loading, meaning more of what you download are actually relevant game files. You know how PS4 patches often require just as much free space before it can download and install? With the PS5, this will be a thing of the past, requiring only the space you actually need for updates. Now, let's look at the M.2 NVMe that I am currently using in my custom PC build. It's a Sabrent rocket. If you guys want to check the product out or buy one of these, check the link in the description. Okay, so I'm going to use Crystal Disk Mark to show the read and write speeds for this, and then compare that to the PS5 speeds we have, and show you real-time data of how much a high-demanding title on PC will require for speeds. Do you think it matters? What we have is 3.4 GB read and 2.9 GB write theoretical maximum on PC, with only around 100 MB being utilized. In this conclusion, I can only assume that the custom SSD for PS5 games will not make a substantial difference if developers do not make the titles with this directly on their minds. But what if they did? The difference PS5 could make is that if they were to draw processing load off the CPU and RAM, you could store some of the data and preload it onto NVMe, and then you could turn that 100 megabytes into your theoretical 5 GB speed on this drive. Now, that would allow for much more massive worlds with zero load times, if they can manage to effectively use this hardware. Now, before we make a final conclusion for this, I want to show some examples of speeds for standard hard drives, SSD, and custom NVMe speeds in real-time games and Windows 10. Conclusion: will this make a difference? The short answer is no, it will not, because not every platform will utilize the same drives, making it much more difficult for developers to create such a task, however possible. The last drawback I want to address is that the 5 GB number Sony throws around is only the theoretical bandwidth of the drive. The actual I/O transfer is only around 2 GB per second, only doubling what the PS4 throughput was. So, are you going to try it out? Let me know in the comments, and as always, smash the like button and see you in the next video.